I have no idea how to choose a good dog food, which is kind of terrifying because for 4 years, I thought I did. I thought I knew everything about choosing a dog food. So I started posting about it.
We finally found a kibble that we fully recommend, and here's how to improve it.
I'm gonna share with you 3 kibbles I would definitely not feed my dogs, along with 3 healthy alternatives that I absolutely would feed my dog.
If you have a dog, if you feed them kibble, and if you want them to live as long as possible, this video is for you.
And honestly, I had no idea how wrong I was until...
I hold these people somewhat accountable for the misinformation that they're spreading out there and the fact that they're thinking that they're experts in something that they have no expertise in at all whatsoever. No nutritional expertise.
Oh, that was so hard and embarrassing. But like, there has to be a way to figure out how to choose a high quality dog food. So I'm gonna swallow my pride and figure it out. And in this video, I'm bringing in a real expert to learn what they look for when they're choosing a dog food. And by the end, I'll give you my top 5 dog foods of 2026. This is Dr. Danielle Conway. She's a veterinary nutritionist, which means not only is she a veterinarian, but she also completed 4 additional years of advanced training focused entirely on dog and cat nutrition. She formulates pet food, teaches and speaks at major veterinary conferences across the country, and works at the highest level of small animal clinical nutrition. And I'm not bringing her in because she's gonna tell me I'm right about everything. In fact, when we share bad information, she calls it out publicly.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Also, she is not sponsored by any single pet food company. And I wanted to ask her, why is it so confusing to choose a pet food? And am I doing something wrong?
Well, you're absolutely not doing anything wrong. And the fact that you're even asking that question means that your dogs are so lucky to have you as their pet guardian. And the reason why it's confusing is not because it's a conspiracy theory, right? It's not because the pet food companies or AAFCO is trying to make it confusing for the consumer. There just needs to be more kind of in-betweens helping to make sense of the information. And also, there isn't enough pressure on the system for it to change.
So it's confusing because there aren't enough people making it easier to understand, and there's not enough pressure on the industry to make improvements. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm still confused and I don't know what to feed my dogs. When I think about how I used to choose a pet food, I was looking for only whole foods, so no synthetic vitamins and minerals, a ton of meat high up on the ingredient list, and ideally minimally processed, so not kibble. I wonder what Dr. Conway thinks about my old method.
It breaks my heart, actually. It hurts my heart, it breaks my heart, because there are pet food companies on the other side who know that you are asking those questions and they're marketing absolute garbage products at you, knowing that those are the only questions you're asking. And so it makes me mad, not at you for asking the questions. It makes me mad at the pet food companies, or even worse, at the people who have taught you to ask those questions. I've seen it result in harm in my clinic with patients coming to me and having to undo the damage that has been done with well-intentioned pet guardians only asking those questions.
Not only did we listen to the wrong advice, but the advice that we did listen to was and still is actively harming animals. I'm having a thought. Obviously, the way I used to choose pet food is wrong, but what if the other part of the problem was that I didn't go deep enough? Old me didn't think to evaluate pet food beyond those few factors, but what if there's more? I don't know. I cannot help but think that all of this starts with the pet food bag. I mean, that's literally the first touch point we get with a brand. So what's the first thing I should be looking for when I pick up a pet food?
I'm looking for the contact information for that pet food company.
Beyond the front of the bag, the ingredients, any of that.
Yep, exactly.
So it sounds like you're telling me there's really not a way to determine if a pet food is good or not by just looking at the bag of food itself.
Correct.
Oh, so this means I literally can't go into a pet food store and look at a bag of pet food and determine whether it's safe to feed my dog or not just based off of that bag. And so then I have to contact the brand in advance, which probably means I'm not gonna hear back for like at least 2 or 3 days. And then what if it's the weekend? That means I'm not gonna hear back for like 5 days. And who knows whether or not that email is gonna end up in the spam folder. Okay, hold on. I mean, look at this bag of pet food. There is so much information on it. I feel like something has to tell us something about the food.
Yeah, there's certain few things. So there's like, I guess there's more, if it's not on this product, I won't even consider investigating it. So if there isn't a clear nutrient label in there with like your bare minimum, so percentages as fed for protein, fat, if there isn't on there calorie information, if they're using shame, like if they're saying things like, or if you've seen an ad from a company where it's, you're a bad pet guardian if you do or don't do this, or if you don't feed our product, automatic no-go for me. Who is it for, right? Like, are we feeding a dog? Are we feeding a cat? Are we feeding a walrus? And also, I want to know then when I flip over the bag, what life stage are we feeding? You know, are we feeding puppies? Are we feeding moms who are, you know, growing babies and making milk?
This one is interesting. She won't even consider a food, no matter how good it is, if they use any shame or fear in their marketing.
When a company is using that kind of marketing, as a human, it doesn't matter who you are, me or you, anybody. When you hear that kind of marketing, it's trying to put you into your fear-based amygdala of your brain, your reptile brain. It's hard to make good decisions even when you're submersed in that kind of marketing. You almost have to like get up, take an emotional lap around the room, or go have a snack, however you process your emotions, and then come back and evaluate the food. So if I have to take some deep breaths or do some meditation before I can even evaluate a pet food, that's not worth my time or energy.
But here's what I'm not understanding. Dr. Conway just told us about all these different things that she looks for on the pet food label itself, which is a ton of information. So what else is there? What are we missing that we don't get from the pet food label?
I really want to know who's the brains behind that food. What are their credentials? What makes them qualified to be formulating pet food? You know, certainly a board certified veterinary nutritionist is going to know a bit about formulation, and they would be qualified in some cases to do that. Also, someone with a master's degree or PhD in dog or cat nutrition specifically and that has worked for pet food formulation is going to be qualified to do that.
Okay, this makes sense. I mean, food is something that a dog relies on entirely every single day to get all of the nutrients that they need. And so if that's not done properly, so many dogs will suffer, which is honestly pretty concerning. Let's keep going.
I want to know what they're doing to make sure that the AAFCO panel that they have or they've formulated to actually is what ends up going in the bowl. Ask for certificates of analysis or COAs. Any good pet food company is going to be delighted to show you their certificate of analysis.
I remember watching a video recently where I saw one of these COAs, these certificates of analysis. Yeah, it was Animal Doc Ray reviewing Evermore. It's pretty crazy that a company's willing to give you all of this information. I mean, they give you a full nutrient makeup for every single one of their recipes.
And then safety and quality control too. I want to know what they're doing from a safety and quality control measure to protect your pets and make sure that they're not getting sick or there aren't things that are sneaking in there that could be harmful to animals.
We have a lot of stuff here, but asking about safety and quality control feels super vague. What are we actually asking about if they do safety and quality control?
I want to make sure that there's a validated kill step.
Okay, I looked into these kill steps and it's actually a lot simpler than I thought it would be. When a pet food company receives raw ingredients, those ingredients come with a certain level of harmful pathogens. Think Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria. A kill step is basically any process you can put those ingredients through that reduces the amount of harmful pathogens without destroying the integrity of the food itself. One of the most common kill steps is cooking. But wait, does that mean Dr. Conway is anti-raw?
I'm not always anti-raw. I would like there to be a kill step involved.
how does a kill step work in raw food?
There's actually a lot of different pathogen mitigation or kill steps that can be used, that are used in the human world.
Okay, I also looked these up, and it seems like there are 3 main ones that are used the most. HPP, which uses intense water pressure to kill harmful pathogens. Lactic acid wash, which is a natural antimicrobial designed to kill bacteria on the surface of the food. And bacteriophages, which are tiny viruses that specifically destroy harmful bacteria, but they can infect human or animal cells. And that's it for safety and quality. We just have to make sure a brand has a validated kill step.
And then also looking to make sure that they have something to be x-raying the product.
Oh, this is feeling like a lot. But I feel like we're honestly close to having a full picture here. I mean, look at all of this information. But wait, we haven't even talked about the ingredients or the guaranteed analysis, which I thought was some of the most important information. When we look specifically at that ingredient list, are there any ingredients you specifically try to avoid?
I can't think of any that I would avoid.
This literally blows my mind because I spent years avoiding all sorts of different ingredients, freaking out if my dog accidentally ate them. And here's this veterinary nutritionist saying that she doesn't avoid any single ingredient in a pet food. So then what about the guaranteed analysis? Because when I look at the guaranteed analysis, I don't really know what I'm looking at or what any of the numbers should be. What I usually do is just try to use that to match the adult dog life stage profile. And what I mean is, if it says that adult dogs should eat no more than 30% protein, 20% fat, and 5% fiber, the food I'm looking at has a guaranteed analysis that falls within that range. But instead of doing that, which is super complicated because you have to look at the values and then use an equation to turn them into dry matter values, and it's just way too much, could we just look and see what the life stage of the food is, whether it's formulated for adult dogs?
Yes. Yeah. That's a better way to do it.
Okay, this is great. This is so much good information, but none of this matters at all if we can't put brands through this and get real recommendations out of it. So let's try it. The first thing Dr. Conway told us to look for is the contact information, but she also said to make sure that the brand includes the guaranteed analysis, the calorie density, what species the food is for, and the life stage that we're working with, whether it's puppy, adult, or something else. And honestly, most brands follow these rules because I'm pretty sure they would get in trouble if they didn't. But she also mentioned that she won't feed any food if they use fear or shame in their marketing. Okay, that got rid of quite a few brands. Now, I wonder out of the remaining brands left, how many of them actually have genuine experts on staff, like Dr. Conway said they should. Okay, that also got rid of a ton of brands, and at this point, I'm just hoping that we have brands left over at the end of this to actually feed our dogs. Time for safety and quality. I sort of can't believe how much work goes into adequately judging pet food, but I finally feel like I have about 5 brands that I currently feel comfortable feeding my own dogs. Now, before I reveal the 5 brands I would feed my own dogs, I want to note 2 things. Number 1, I am in no way affiliated with any of these pet food companies. And number 2, these are not the only safe and quality options out there. These are just the ones that I currently feel comfortable feeding my own dogs that I have come across. All right, in no particular order, starting with the kibble recommendation, we're going with Royal Canin, Purina Pro Plan, and Hill's Science Diet. Now hold on, I know I just lost some of you because you're like, oh great, this is just another big kibble recommendation video. It's not, I still have gently cooked food and raw food coming. Now for our gently cooked option, one that we've personally been loving and feeding to our own dogs lately, is Just Food for Dogs. And finally, while we don't feed raw food to our own dogs currently, the one brand we would trust right now is Instinct Raw. But honestly, there's a problem with every single one of these brands. You still don't really know anything about them or anything about any of the other brands that we didn't recommend in this video. So if you want to dig into individual brands, this playlist right here will house every single dog food review we ever do in the future.